In this video, I'm going to tell you what equipment I use and how I set it up to shoot my YouTube videos. So let's get to it. Hi, John Tisbury here. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about photography, cinematography, working with models, working on location in studio, start now by subscribing and clicking that notification bell so you get notified of any new content when I upload it. In this particular video, I'm going to talk you through and show you how I approach my YouTube videos in sort of two areas really. One is the overall approach for those videos, and then secondly the equipment and how I set it up. I have done this previously, this video back last year in fact, and looking at it and reviewing it, I've noticed that most of the equipment is now completely different from what I showed there. So I thought it was time to update that video and show the latest setup that I'm currently using at the moment. So I'll talk about my approach. It all starts with me coming up with a general idea for the video. You know, what do I want to get across? What's my point? And I add that general strap line or ideas, few words, to a note on my phone, which then also appears on my Mac, on my computer. And over the course of 3 or 4 days, a week or so, I will then expand that note and add sort of key content, put a structure to it. So I've got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And expand that to really quite a detailed script of the things I wanted to say. And this then forms my sort of prompt notes during the actual video, and I've got them in front of me here on my phone. I find that helps to keep me on track. So what I was doing before was I wasn't really doing the depth of the scripting for the particular videos. So what was tending to happen was I was sort of waffling, and although I sort of knew the subject, it perhaps wasn't put across the best way. It wasn't concise, it wasn't necessarily structured, and I tended to waffle and cover things 2 or 3 times, whereas I should have really just done it once, and that was it. So that approach, I say, is fairly new over the last sort of 5 or 6 videos, and I'm getting more and more structured in that approach as I get into it. So there's still a bit of a learning curve in there. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of the approach. If it does, then just drop some comments down below in terms of the approach that you take for recording your YouTube videos, or whether my approach works for you as an audience. That would be good to know, get some feedback. The second part of the video is where I want to talk about the equipment. I now shoot exclusively on Sony. All my Nikon gear has gone. And I shoot for both photos and video with the Sony gear. And I've got the 2 cameras set up here. So the main camera which I'm looking at now is the Sony A7 III. In fact, they're both the A3s, Model 3s. This has got the 24-70 G master lens on it, and this one has got another G master lens. It's got the 16-35. They're both 2.8 lenses, and they're both set at 2.8 currently. And often I'll set this camera here. At the moment it's on a static tripod, but often I'll also set it on the mini slider, the Shark mini slider, the iFootage one, and that will allow it to track backwards and forwards in the background, which just adds a bit of interest to save me doing that in post. But for today, I've put them both on tripods because in a minute I'm going to use that camera to show you the setup. In terms of the lighting, I have a classic 3-point lighting. So I've got a light over here, and I've got a light off to the side. They're both with softboxes, so they're my main lights. And then behind me, as you can see, and it's on this side, I've got a kicker light, which is unsoftboxed. So it's just a bare LED light. All 3 of them are LED lights. They're a brand called iKan, and I've had them a long time, and they're really, really good. They're good quality, and they get good colour out of them, so I don't have to worry about colour casts and things like that. Audio wise, I have a boom stand with a mic on it, shotgun mic. It's an Audio Technica. Let's find the model. So I've written it down. I can never remember that. Oh, there. AT897 is the model number. And that's connected all the way through to a Sound Devices preamp, which is then feeds into a Zoom H4N for the audio recording. I've also got the recording on the sound recording on the two Sonys as well, so I can sync those together when I get into post-production. But I don't actually use the sound from those two cameras. It is purely just to sync up the action and the audio. So when I do a multi-cam editing, it makes life a lot easier. The other thing I wanted to chat to you about, which is a new addition to the set, is a HD monitor. One of the drawbacks I had with my previous setup is I couldn't actually see if the framing and composition was correct. So what I ended up doing was setting up where the camera I thought it was going to be, pressing record, coming round to my seat, do a few lines to camera, go back to the camera, stop it, review it, notice that the camera set too low or too high or off to the one side, tweak the camera where I guessed it would be, repeat the process. It got a little bit tedious after 3 or 4 goes backwards and forwards to get the framing correct. So I invested in a small HD monitor, and that's just really set in the first place just to set up the composition and the framing, and then I can forget about it from there on. But it does make life so much easier just having that instant feedback. If I'm doing vlogging and out and about with the camera, then I don't bother with the HD monitor, because I know by just holding the camera in front of me on the tripod or the Jobo, it's going to be in focus and focusing on my face, and the framing is going to be okay. So I only use it when I'm in this situation. So take you through, bring up some photos, bring up some footage so you can actually see the equipment and see the setup in more detail. And yeah, so let's run that bit now. So there you have it. That's my setup. That's my current March 2019 YouTube setup. Hope you found that useful. And if you have, then please click the old thumbs up icon, or thumbs down if it wasn't particularly useful. Please drop some comments below as well in terms of your setup, what you use, how it works for you, what you've found useful, what you've found wasn't particularly useful, and any sort of comments on what I've said here as well. Do remember to subscribe if you found that interesting. Click the old bell notification icon as well, so you can be notified of new updates as and when they appear on my channel, normally every week. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. All right, take care. Bye.